We're ready.
Good afternoon. I would like to call the special committee on youth to order. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Garza,
Here.
Commissioner Dobb. Here. Commissioner Clementi,
Present.
Vice Chair Marecki, Chair Baker McCormick.
Here.
We have a quorum present.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Item B, Chair's remarks.
You know what? I'll reserve them for later. Next item.
Item C, approval of the minutes from the April 23rd, 2024 meeting.
Is there a motion?
Support.
It's been moved and supported. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passed. Next item, please.
Item D, unfinished business. There is none listed. We are moving to item 1 under new business, discussion and approval of the following. A, National Association of Counties 2025 Legislative Conference in Washington, D.C.
Okay, so this is something that we've been talking about over the years. Chair Bell mentioned that there was at some point that, well, you know, she's been a member of NACO for a long time, but we envisioned that at some point the youth would attend the conference. However, we're putting a spin on it because I'm the incoming president of the Women of NACO, the actual council, Women Council for NACO. We thought it would be great to have an ongoing youth council on a national scale. So I met with the president of NACO, James Gore, while I was in California recently, and some other board members, and they're on board with it. So not only will we have our youth there, but we'll have youth from around the country coming together to come up with a national youth initiative. So so we came up with a potential budget for the 2 youth. It would only be 2 days that they would be there, and we would have activities for them. NACO is helping to organize the events, and we will have a chaperone for the youth. And that's really the gist of it right now. That's all the information I have, other than the parents have already signed off on it. This is much like our Lansing trip, but just for the chair and vice chair of the youth council. They will also provide a report when they return to the other youth members, and they will be a part of a national youth council that NACO is forming. So I think that's all I have for that item. Yes, Commissioner Clementi.
I have a few concerns. I feel like we've put the cart before the horse. This is the first time that we've heard anything about this. And I believe it was already brought up in front of the students and the parents before the commission has even had a chance to. And you've already talked to NACO. It's concerning to me about going, skipping over, even thinking about the state of Michigan. We have Michigan Association of Counties and going right to the national level. So how did this come about before any of us are hearing about it?
Well, as I stated, the youth council, this is our 6th year. So this is something that we have been contemplating and we talked about a long time ago. I talked about it last year at this meeting. I believe it was this meeting. Well, we only had one meeting, so it may have came up. I can't recall if it did or didn't, but we've discussed it over the years. We mentioned it before this, that's the other thing. Before this committee was formed, it was just formed in January. So a lot of the activities around the youth council were not discussed with this committee because this is new. This is all new. However, before this committee was formed, a lot of this legwork was being implemented. And again, as the incoming president of the Women of NACO, this is something that I decided to do as a platform for the Women's Council with the support of other women council members. So that's kind of how it came about. So I get that you probably haven't heard of it, but that's because we didn't have to go through this process of going over each and every item that the youth council, of the youth council activities. So, yeah.
And so NACO is forming a youth council commission with
Right.
other
Mhm.
states.
Right.
Okay.
And again, the chair was on board with it. We talked about it. Like I said, when we formed the youth council, that was one of the first things we talked about is this national initiative. So I thought it would be great to try to get it done this year. And as I said, we talked about it last year thoroughly with the youth council, and that's kind of how it came about. Yes, Commissioner Marecki.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I guess my concerns are the information that we received from our own commission counsel on this and her concerns. And frankly, the last line, due to the significance of the potential liability related to out-of-state travel and the likelihood that such travel is not an appropriate expenditure of public funds, that's another thing I'm concerned about. Commission Council recommends denial of the proposed travel.
And I just received this as well, so this
yeah.
is surprising to me.
Yeah,
as-
so, I mean,
okay.
our council,
Mhm.
I depend on Felicia a lot for her input into our committee,
Mhm.
items, that type of thing. And frankly, I don't recall her ever coming right out and say, you should deny this.
Yeah, that's interesting to me
She-
too.
Yeah, she doesn't do that. So she must feel very strongly about that.
Yeah.
It also is the taxpayer issue
Mhm.
of $3,000. I mean, I'm just looking at the sort of budget here, that we're flying minors to Washington DC on taxpayer dollars who are not doing work of the county. It's actually benefiting them. And I'm not disparaging the experience these kids get with this. But they're not traveling to Washington DC to help the county on anything. So yeah, I have big concerns about this. And I did not know NACO was forming a youth group. I'm not even sure, MAC has a youth group that I'm aware of, is that right? So like Commissioner Clemente mentioned, this is really a big step going into a national convention. I maybe would even have a problem with the MAC conference, again, because this is taxpayer dollars and these kids are not doing anything for the county. It's for themselves. And I don't mean that as a put down by any means, because I think this is a great group where these kids can learn about government. But those are my comments.
Okay, and so to your point, we have a budget combined from the Women's Council and for the Youth Council of $150,000. So that is what that budget is for. It's for youth programming for these particular types of activities.
For NACO, NACO's got the budget. NACO's got the budget?
Wayne County commission has appropriated $150,000 for the Women's Council and for the Youth Council. Those are combined
Oh.
budget.
And
And
ethics,
so-
and ethics board. I was
Okay,
gonna say, well,
Well, okay,
Okay.
and Ethics Board,
okay.
but I do know that we do have a budget. Okay. So we have a combined budget that we have used over the last 6 years for the Youth Council. And in addition to traveling to Lansing on 4 occasions with the Youth Council, there's never been any issues with travel. As long as the parents signed off, then we were okay with it. The parents have signed off on these 2 individuals. There's only 2 youth that will travel at the expense of $3,000. The parents are paying for the flight. So it's an experience that they will get when they get there. That's the added expense, which is the lodging. That's all we're paying for. I find it strange that we can fund hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars for juveniles in a youth detention and all of these things for youth that aren't really being productive in our society, but we can't spend $3,000 on youth that are trying to make a difference. I don't really understand that. So that's why I'm not even sure where this denial is coming from, why it's even coming at this late hour to us. I think is very disingenuous for this this whole statement to be presented at this point. Again, they have traveled before. There has never been a problem. The parents are on board with the travel. We have arranged for them to participate in a youth council that will help this county, and it will help the youth, hopefully all over the United States once this council come together on a national level. In addition, there are other commissioners that have committed to bringing youth to NACO as well. The president of NACO is bringing youth. So if other counties have done it in the past, I don't see the reason why we wouldn't be able to, because it just makes sense to me.
We
So-
have Commission Council Felicia Johnson on the line wishing to speak.
We'll get to her in a second. I'm just trying to make sure everyone understands the points that I've made. Any questions from commissioners?
I just have another comment.
Okay.
I've been going to NACO for a long time. I'm totally unaware of any kind of youth. They might be doing this now, but in the past, I am totally unaware of any kind of youth commission or youth group, or, I've been doing this for a long time. And so if they're just forming this now and James Gore is bringing his youth, I haven't even seen anything with this, and not saying that it's not going to be something in the future. It could
Right.
be. But again, I am completely clueless on a youth.
Right, and it is a new initiative
Okay.
under the Women of NACO. Yes.
Okay.
That's
Oh,
a-
okay. I'm sorry. I thought you said this has been going on, and I'm like,
No,
I don't remember any
no.
of this.
What I was alluding to is that other commissioners in the past have brought youth to the conference.
You mean in NACO's? The group-
In NACO,
But
yes,
not-
yes,
okay.
not in a capacity where they came together for what we're suggesting today. But yes, again, Alicia mentioned it to me, and that's kind of where the concept came from. And over the last 6 years, we've talked about it and worked on developing what that would look like. And again, this is a new committee. So yes, I suppose you wouldn't have been aware of it because this is a new committee. Yeah. Yes, Commissioner Garza.
I wanted to just ask a question about this newly formed youth council and NACO.
Mhm.
So do you know how many other commissions are sending representatives
Well,
of youth?
This is a new initiative, so the pilot is going to be in February, and that's what we're doing now. We're putting that whole pilot together, but there are other, at least 5 other commissioners that have committed to bringing youth.
Okay.
I'm not sure if that's the total.
Sure.
That I know of, at least 5.
Thank you.
Yes. Mhm. Any other questions from commissioners or statements?
Are we going to hear from?
Yes, I was just wondering if any commissioners had anything. Okay, the council, is she still on?
Yes.
Okay.
Felicia?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you now.
Oh, my apologies. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Felicia Johnson, Commission Counsel for the Wayne County Commission. With regards to the item that you're on, I would like to address a few points. First, I'll start with the budget. So it is true that the commission did allocate $150,000 for boards and commissions. However, no specific expenditure has been allocated to any board, nor has any actual items been approved through that budget process. As you all are aware, there is a process within the county for the expenditure of funds. So no matter what you're trying to purchase, whether that's a pencil, whether that's a desktop computer, or whether that's travel to expend public funds, there is a process. And that process includes approvals. It includes review by legal. So with regards to the Youth Council trip to DC, while it is true that it has been mentioned in passing that there was a potential for a trip, no details were provided. When this item was placed on the Youth Council agenda a month or 2 back, I immediately told the Youth Council that my office had not reviewed it and it had not been approved through the county process, because at that point it had not been approved and still hasn't been approved through the county process. So I'm not sure who's been working on what details or the development of the project, but legal was just getting this. And when I found out about it, I made it very clear during that Youth Council meeting that there were some legal concerns. I made it clear to Commissioner weeks ago that I had concerns and I would be producing a memo. So my memo shouldn't be of shock to anyone, nor should the concerns regarding liability. With regards to distinguishing this from stuff like juvenile, the county is legally obligated statutorily to provide services with regards to juvenile in their custody through the jails. So that is a very different scenario than what you're looking at right now. What you're proposing right now is a trip out of state for some youth. The liability associated that with is very significant. More important than that, or just as important as that, is that the fact that these are public dollars. These are not dollars that the county can simply just spend. There has to be a public purpose for the expenditure of county funds, and those funds should be in furtherance of a government purpose. So when commissioners travel, when employees of the county travel, it has to meet certain qualifications, and that includes being in furtherance of their job duties and furtherance of county business. In this instance, the Youth Council, while it's great, while it's educational, there is no actual public purpose served for them going to the NACO conference. So for those reasons, the liability reasons, for the fact that this does not serve a public purpose and wouldn't be an appropriate expenditure of county funds, is those reasons that I've recommended that this particular trip be denied. It is unfortunate that this trip was mentioned to the youth and the parents before it was gone through the proper county process, because I would have given you my advice and I would imagine it would have went to the point of getting the youth's hopes up for the trip before it was properly vetted. But we are now at the point of trying to get it properly vetted. And so the recommendation of council is not to approve this particular trip. And I'll also state that I did request when it was brought to our attention and I indicated that I would be looking at the matter because I had legal concerns, I did ask for details related to the trip. I was not aware that parents were even trying to fund a portion of it. That information was not given to me. So even at this very late hour, the details regarding the trip and the information seemed to be changing, or it just wasn't fully given to legal with regards to these matters. So it's very difficult when you look at items A through D for me to provide you any advice if I'm not provided with all the details related to those items. We do our best to advise you, but I need information in order to do so. I think that's everything I have unless the commissioner has a specific question related to these items.
I didn't have anyone has any questions? Okay. All right. Well, I will just say that to the furtherance of public good, a youth council that has a voice about issues that impact this county is furtherance of the good of this county. We have expended over the last 6 years dollars for all of a lot of the activities of the youth. And so if it's the case that we can't spend dollars for any programs, then that would be the same as with the Women's Council, the Youth Council. We can't spend anything. And it's just boggling to me that we're at this late stage where precedence has been established. Now we're saying that, oh, no, this is not in furtherance of the good of the county. So I just totally disagree with that statement. And again, this is a new process here. When the Youth Council was formed, there was no committee. So all of what was done to get the Youth Council up and running was done through my office, right? And with the support of other commissioners. So there was no vetting of projects or providing a list and going over the activities. We haven't had to do that. So when the council says, oh, I didn't get all of the details, that's because they weren't required. So this is a little different process here. And I was hoping that commissioners could understand that and see the good work that we're doing. And like I said, parents have approved it and they're okay with it. And NACO is okay with it. So I'm not sure what really the problem is at this point. If the parents are going to remove Wayne County from any liability, they're buying a plane ticket. I don't understand the issue at this point. So that's just me. That's how I think. I don't know how anybody else thinks, but go ahead, Commissioner.
Thank you, Madam
Mhm.
Chair, and thank you, Commission Council. I guess, first of all, I just want to say, I think giving our youth a good experience, of course, is always an important thing. I think it's good for the commission to have a youth council and to give these youth a good experience. However, looking at what Commission Council provided to us about the appropriate expenditure of public funds, I think it wouldn't behoove us, any of us, to, simply ignore that recommendation from our council, specifically because we have a council to give legal recommendations on these things to begin with. I'm not sure if there's a way to allow for our youth or youth across the country from county commissions to maybe do this remotely or something else of that nature to discuss that. And I think absolutely NACO should definitely move forward with doing something for our youth across the country. I'm just not sure if doing this and allowing them to go in person is the best advice to give at this point, considering our council has recommended that we don't approve this. So I just wanted to my thoughts clear on
Okay.
that and just as we move forward. So.
Okay, well, I appreciate that too. Yeah, all I can say is in the Capitol or at the Capitol, which they were going to actually do a field trip, there's always tons of kids from all over the country, all over the world that visit in groups. And so I just, again, I'm not sure why two youth from our county wouldn't be able to. Yep, go ahead.
Madam Chair, if I can just continue,
Sure.
I agree. The Lansing trip, I'm in full support of that.
Mhm.
I just want to just distinguish just between the two, though, just leaving the state as a whole on a plane to Washington, D.C. and going to our state capital. I fully support them going to Lansing. I think it's a very good educational opportunity for the youth of Wayne County. And I think NACO is too. However, I think the two are separate. I 100% plan on supporting the Lansing trip.
Thank you.
But I think that we have to look at what actual liability the county has and maybe we can vet this a little bit more going forward. But
Okay.
that's just my thoughts on it. I
And
appreciate it,
to-
Madam Chair.
And to your point as well, a part of the program on a national level would be for them to meet virtually as well on Zoom. So they meet at the February NACO Legislative Conference. They get to know each other there, and then through the year, that year, they'll basically meet online or through Zoom. So that was the idea. Did you have before we go, we had Mr. Cox on the line. He's one of the parents of the youth council. Can you allow him to speak right quick? I'm just gonna, because he has to go back to
Yeah.
work.
Good afternoon, Commissioner. I'm Nidhi's
Okay.
mom, so I just joined. I'm sorry. I'm waiting.
Needy, I'm sorry, just one second. She's requesting that Mr. Cox speak.
Okay, no problem.
And he is no longer online. He
Okay, you
just
can let her
left.
speak then.
Okay.
Mhm.
Needy?
Yeah.
You may now speak.
Oh, is it? Okay, great. Thank you. Sorry for the late because I was at work meeting, so I just came out from that. Thank you. And good afternoon, Commissioner and distinguished members of the Wayne County Council. This is my first time speaking here. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak before you today. I'm here to express my full support for my daughter, Nidhi, as she prepares to attend the National Association of Counties Conference in Washington, D.C. this March. That's what we got all the information. So as a council member of Wayne County, my daughter has demonstrated a deep commitment to public service and civic engagement, even in our on the county as such, like since 2 years, and representing the best interest of our community. So her participation in this prestigious conference, we think it's going to be a very unique opportunity to develop her knowledge and engage with fellow public servants. After we got this information, we sat and discussed about as a family, and then we feel like NACO conference will allow her to learn more from like national leaders and networking with other local government officials, which will enable her to bring back ideas and strategies that can benefit Wayne County. And also we thought like she represents Wayne County like proudly by attending. She'll not represent herself, but also for our county. So it's an honor for our local government to have a seat at the table in discussions that shape the future of our county level governance. And also we thought like the knowledge and strategies learned at NACO will be directly applicable to the work she does here in our county. So by participating in these national discussions, I feel these youth leaders will be equipped to advocate for policies and initiatives that will benefit our Wayne County residents. As a parent, I feel the experience is invaluable for the citizens, like the youth leaders' growth as a public servant. And That's what I respectfully ask for the council support in allowing her to attend a NACO conference this March. So I'm confident it will be an investment in both her development as well as the betterment of our community. So,
Comments?
yeah, thank you for your time and consideration.
Yes, thank you so much for
Yeah.
calling in on your lunch break.
Thank
All
you.
right. Did he?
Chair Bell has her hand raised, so
Okay.
Mr. Cox is not
Okay.
online.
Yes, Chair Bell is on the line.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am so happy that we have formed the Wayne County Commission Youth Council. The experience that these young people have had has been extraordinary, especially at the county level, where a lot of times young people aren't aware of what counties do. So this has been an amazing experience for our young people. I formed this committee in January of this year to make sure that we could extend what we're doing, have conversations about what we're doing, put all of the commissioners who are on the committee together to work towards the betterment of the youth council. Unfortunately, the first meeting was in April, and then this is the second meeting. I think had we met earlier throughout the year to discuss all of the activities, which was what I was hoping for, then we could be further along as it relates to this travel as other travel. We want our children to have experiences. To the parent that just spoke and to the parent that's on the line, that's not the issue that we're facing today. Today's concern is the fact that we have to be good stewards of taxpayers' money. And unfortunately, we cannot, it is illegal for us to pay for children or anyone that's not an employee to go on a trip out of the state. So that's what the issue is. I want to make sure that the parents understand that very clearly. It is not legal for us to spend taxpayer monies in this manner. Had we had a conversation earlier this year, we could have fundraised, we could have had sponsors, we could have found private sources to for this expenditure, but that did not happen. While this meeting was taking place, I did talk to Matt Chase, who is the executive director of NACO, and we spoke, and he said that at this time, he does not have any plans to have any youth programming at the Ledge Conference in March. Again, everyone agrees that youth involvement is important, but he does not have any plans to have any youth participation at the legislative conference in March of this year. I spoke to James Gore. James Gore has a young person in his county who is with the Senate program for youth, and he thought it was a good idea because that young man will already be in DC for this program to have him stop by, but he is not funding for that young man to come to DC from his county as well. So I just wanted to put that out there. We love our young people, we love what they're doing, but we need to make sure that we vet things thoroughly as a county commission and that we are doing things legally and that we're doing things in process and in order. And I feel so bad for the young people who were told that they were going to DC without it being vetted through this commission first. But they do know that we love them, we encourage them, and we're going to keep being with them and making sure that they have a great experience in our Wayne County Youth Council. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So that's great. I'm glad you mentioned that it's really about the fundraising part, but that you support them going. But what we'll do, I'll commit to fundraising for them, and then that'll alleviate the issue of the funding and using public dollars. So, I mean, other commissioners don't have to commit to that, but since I put it out there, and I made them believe that they could fly, literally, I want to make this happen. So that's what I'm going to commit to. And it's, that's what I'll commit to. Yes, Mr. Cox, please.
Good afternoon. My name is David Cox. I am the father of Kelly Cox, and I do understand some of the ramifications. But I did hear. I just wanted clarification because it is, as a citizen taxpayer, it's critical that we do continue to put forth activities for our youth that are not that are productive, because a lot of times that's why they're leaving our community. My daughter serves as chief judge in the youth government council, where she for the state of Michigan. So this trip would be extremely beneficial. And I did hear my family is willing to support the travel for our daughter in whatever means necessary, as well as the community I serve in, serving the city of Detroit for last 28 years, serve as a pastor. We're willing to support and have that. But I heard two things and I just wanted to get clear. First, we said it wasn't legal. Then we said it was because of the fundraising. Which is it? If it's the fundraising, we'll commit to make sure that we hit those standards to make sure our child, because my daughter's a senior, she doesn't have a second chance, and this is my third daughter. This is my third child that will participate. So I want to make sure that she has everything that she needs to benefit from learning government, because her dream has always been to be the attorney general and as well as serve as a senator. And this would be a great opportunity for her to get that, to see what's going on in Washington, and also for Wayne County, because that's where she wants to remain in this area. So
Thank you, Mr. Cox. We don't go back and forth. So I use this time as public comments for the parents, and I will get back with you on
Thank you.
further details. Thank you.
I'm sorry, and let me
Commissioner-
just say, I'm sorry, Mr. Cox, this is Chair Bell again. And I might have spoken out of turn. We can't use funds from the county to pay for the trip. If I'm sure there's some other legalities that our council was going to speak to make sure. I was just throwing it out there that could have been a discussion point to how we fund such a thing if we found it necessary or found it appropriate to have young people go out of town. And that's still a question mark if that's even appropriate. But we could have had that conversation was my point. We could have talked about what it looked like. And fundraising could have been part of what it looked like.
Okay, thank you for the clarity.
Thank you.
Thank you for calling in. Thank you. Commissioner Dobb?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to ask our Commission Council to address first the fundraising, possibility of fundraising, and then also just the legality of bringing minor children to this conference and the liability on the county regarding, like, I haven't seen a permission slip. Like, what does that look like? The travel arrangements, there's just been nothing except this item on the agenda. So if Commission Council can weigh in on that.
Through the chair to this honorable body, with regards to fundraising. So there are some legal concerns related to fundraising on behalf of the county. And so those items would have to be looked at and addressed. The county currently doesn't have a policy regarding the accounting for donations and fundraising in the manner that we're discussing now. We've actually had this discussion with other boards and commissions, and ultimately it was determined that they wouldn't fundraise because there are some internal issues with the county and the system not being set up to accept it. And there's also just some other liability issues related to it. So that is a conversation that definitely would have to be discussed. It has been discussed in the past. Those issues haven't been resolved, and boards like the Women's Commission were advised not to fundraise until those issues were resolved. So at this point, the Youth Council wouldn't be in a position to actually start fundraising until those issues are resolved. But to your point, Commissioner Dobb, the fundraising and financing piece is separate from the liability. So while you can't spend public funds to take the kids to DC and perhaps other revenue sources can be explored, that doesn't address the liability. This is still a county youth council, and there's still liability associated with it. It's still a legal question. Even if you have a different source of funds, the county's still liable. And is that still, because it's a county function, it's a county youth council, would that still be appropriate because it's not a public purpose? So, I mean, we can sit and go through the various details and do some more research and looking into this to determine if there's a way to make a future trip happen. I don't anticipate that we'll have any answers for this particular trip coming in March. However, if this is something that the committee and the commission would like to explore, we can go through all the details and figure out if there's a way to make it happen at some future point. I don't anticipate, again, with the fundraising piece and the liability piece, that those issues would be nearly resolved in time for this trip. So it is still the recommendation of council based on liability alone that this trip not happen, but also there's still issues even if the decision were to try to find other sources of funds. Thank you.
All right, well, any others comments? Nope. All right, so we'll move on to the next item, which is,
Voting on these individually.
yeah,
Okay.
we'll vote on it all together. Well,
Well-
yeah, we can do this one by itself and the others together, okay? All right, is there a motion?
I put a motion out to deny this item.
Okay, all in favor?
So we have
Of-
support.
Or
Need a
support, deny?
Your point of clarification, I'm trying
Sure.
to, what are exactly are we
Just
denying?
for item A.
Yeah.
That's
Got
the
it.
first one.
Okay.
That's it.
Thank you.
Okay. All those in favor of
All
item
right, who was the support?
I support the denial.
deny, okay? All those denying the motion. Is it just two denying or
Oh,
all?
let's vote. on
We
it
have to
now.
vote on it.
Yes, who
Yes,
was in favor?
I'm asking all, Mareki made a motion.
Yes.
Is there support on her motion? Okay, and then we
All
can
those
vote on it.
Support
All
of that
those,
motion.
all those in support of the motion?
Everyone?
Yes.
Aye.
Okay. And of course, I'm not, so motion pass. Next item?
Yes. Next item, item B, Wayne County Commission Youth Council Apparel.
Okay, that's okay, yep, you had a question?
Okay, so since we are looking at these things, I support all of that what you're doing with the
Mhm.
youth, but now was this item put through the county process? So did you
So
use?
we've always had
I know
polo
what-
shirts. We've always.
You've always had a shirt and
Yeah,
a
so
sweater?
again, this is all new.
Right.
This whole process of us sitting down, vetting each and every item is all new. So yes,
Okay,
but
so-
we've had shirts, polo shirts.
That's what I'm
Yes.
asking. I
Uh-huh.
just want to know, just tell me, because it's new.
Okay.
And I'm new, really.
Mhm.
I would like to know, there's a county process that we have to use people that are
Procurement.
procurement. Thank you. So have these shirts and have you always had shirts and sweaters? And did it go through the county process or have they
Okay.
already been ordered?
So
What has
si-
happened?
Since this was a small dollar amount, we only had polo shirts. And you see how much they cost, $250. And then the sweaters we were adding this year. So we didn't have the sweaters, but when we traveled to Lansing last year, there was another youth group that had sweaters. And so that's where the sweaters are coming from. So.
So the
Mhm.
question is, did you go through the county process to get these? Did you go through procurement and work
Not
with?
for this small dollar amount.
Do
yeah.
we have a dollar amount that we can or cannot use the county process?
Again, this.
I can
I've
answer that.
never had to use the process. So to order shirts, 20 shirts or sweaters and 10 polos, we just went through the company that we were using.
Point,
Yeah,
point of order.
sure.
I just
can
want
answer
to
that.
mention that we are all allowed 2 shirts and we have to go through the procurement process.
Yeah.
I just wanted to let you guys know that Attorney Johnson is on the line. We'll
Okay,
speak to
yeah,
this.
well, we'll get to her. We're just trying to figure out the questions here. So,
But go ahead.
were you finished?
I don't want you to be defensive because I think you're
Mhm.
doing a good job, but we are making ourselves, departments, we have a process. And now that we do have this committee and we want to make our youth council better and bigger, we need to be following a process.
Okay.
And I know you didn't have to do it before, but now because you are
Mhm.
spotlighted and doing a great job, we need to follow the process because people might be looking at what's going on.
Okay.
So,
So we can look at other vendors. That's not a problem.
I guess
Yeah.
the other thing
Mhm.
is like, I'm seeing this for the very first time, all of these things. And I think that we have to have questions. That's how we learn things.
Right.
Just like you would encourage your youth to ask questions. So, that's what we're doing right
That's
now. And I
fine.
just want to make
That's
sure
fine.
that we're doing the right thing.
Yep. I agree. So we can definitely look at other.
So you already have these, is what you're saying?
We don't have
You
them
don't have
yet.
them.
We just,
Okay.
these are the items that usually every year for the last 6 years that we've ordered, with the
Okay.
exception of the sweaters. We didn't order those before. Yes,
Right.
Commissioner Gosley?
Commissioner Marecki, did you have something?
No.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to see if we could hear from our legal counsel about the procurement, just so if there's rules. I know it's a small dollar amount, but I wanted to see if if this even falls under our procurement ordinance or not.
Sure. She was gonna chime in anyway, so go ahead, Felicia.
Through the chair, to this honorable committee. So there's a procurement process for everything that is purchased. No matter who purchases it and no matter the dollar amount, there is always a process. And all items are supposed to be submitted through the Office of Administration. And then at that point, depending on the item, depending on the amount, it's determined if we need to go out to bid, if we got to get quotes, or what that process is. So with regards to the Youth Council, that process has always been in place. There has never been an exception for it. We do know that items were purchased in violation of that process, and we've been working to try to get the Youth Council purchases in line with the procurement. It doesn't matter that this committee was just started. That has nothing to do with the process within the county for how items are procured. And so we're just trying at this point to get all items, again, in process and in compliance with the procurement ordinance. No purchases, no matter the dollar amount, should be done without first going through the Office of Administration, who then consults me and maybe fiscal and others to determine what the necessary process and procedures are. And so I hope that answers the question, but there was never any authority given to make purchases. We know that has happened, and we've been trying to get, again, the purchases with the Youth Council in line
No,
with county
that is not
requirements.
correct. That has never happened. All of the purchases that we've made has to go through the chair and through the Office of the Administration. I'm not sure who she
No, that's
sends
what
it to, but it
that's what I
went through the chair. So if there was something procedurally done incorrectly, you have to talk to the chair about that. Every item that I've always purchased, I couldn't purchase it through my office by myself. It goes through the chair for her approval. That's the process that we use. So again, we will submit these items and look at moving forward with a different, I guess, procurement process if there's any, but usually it would just go to the chair for approval, and that would be it. All right, any other questions about item B? All right, any on item C? These are 25 books.
Madam Chair.
Oh,
Sorry,
yes,
just-
go ahead.
Is it okay if we take each of these separately? Because I would like to make a motion to approve item B with the just contingent upon following the county procurement process.
Sure. Well, all of these are procurement related, right? So sure, we could take it by itself. There's a motion on the table. Is there support? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, yeah.
Thank you.
All right, next, motion passed. Next item.
Item C, educational materials.
Yes,
I would just like to know the name of the book and the author that you're using.
it is, yes, Make Your Bed.
Oh,
It's
Make Your Bed.
in the second bullet there. All right. Any other discussion on this item?
I'd like to make a motion
Okay, all right.
on item C to support.
All
Sorry,
those
the
in
purchase
favor
of the-
or the motion, and then
With the
is there
purchase.
support?
Yeah. Okay, wait, I'd like to make a motion. Let me get my words out. I'd like to make a motion on item C to purchase educational materials, 25 books, Make Your Bed for support learning for our youth.
Is there support?
Following the
Yes,
procurement
all of
ordinance.
us we'll follow
Thank
it.
you.
We've been following the procurement process by authorizing it through the chair's office, and whatever she wants to do, that's fine. Yep,
Well,
okay.
okay.
Is there support?
I'm sorry, Commissioner Clementi, may you please restate your motion so I can have it
Yes,
correct?
I'm sorry. I'd like to make a motion to purchase educational materials. Do I need the dollar amount? Or just
Item C.
and following the procurement ordinance?
Is there support?
I'll su-
Yes.
I'll support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed. Next item.
Item D, Lansing Advocacy Day.
So we haven't planned any of these dates of any of these events yet. This is just standard practices of what we've done over the last 5-6 years. So is there any questions about the Lansing Advocacy Day? Yes.
And how does this work? I mean, do
They-
you put in receipts after you go, or how do you
I submit the invoices.
afterwards?
No, before we submit all of the invoices to the chair's office, and they process it from there.
Okay, and then
Mhm.
and then she approved.
Yep, she's
That.
approved, she approve it, and that's the process, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, any other question? Yeah, Commissioner Clemente.
So I would just like to make a suggestion when you go to Lansing that you try and pick a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, because that's when they're in session, so
Okay.
that you'll get as many legislators as you can see.
Would you like to attend?
Well, of course, I would like to
Okay,
attend,
great.
but Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday depends on committee. But
Mhm.
being a former legislator, sometimes youth would come and there would be no one there. On Mondays and Fridays, field trips would come and there would be no one there. So if you want to get the most benefit out of going to Lansing, I try and plan it on a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, and look at the and I
schedule.
can help you with this, look
Yeah.
at the schedule.
Yeah, we
Uh,
always planned it with legislators in Lansing. Stephanie Chang, Senator Chang, who else? Mary, Senator Kavanaugh. So we always talk with them, set appointments up before we go so that, yeah, we get the maximum
But I think another
participation.
benefit of going to Lansing is seeing the Senate or the House in session.
Yes.
Not just meeting with your legislators, but seeing how the work is done on the
On the
House
floor.
floors.
Mhm.
And if you go on a Monday or a Friday, you will not see that.
Yeah.
So that was just my point. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Commissioner
Thank
Garza.
you,
Mhm.
Madam Chair. I just want to echo Commissioner Clemente mention on that. But I just want to say how such an educational portion of this Lansing trip. It's great to see legislators in action on the House or Senate floor and then be able to view it from the gallery above. But yeah, it's definitely worth the trip. And it's great to see, especially with this being a legislative body on the county level, to see how a state legislative body operates and what the differences are. So it's a good educational opportunity for the youth.
All right, is there a motion?
I'll support that.
It's been moved and supported. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Next item, please. Motion pass.
Item E, April presentation to the commission.
I am waiting on a date. Every year, the Youth Council provides a presentation of what they've done over the last, over the school year. And we provide lunch and they have some other activity. We haven't planned anything as of yet, but this is what we're looking at right now. Is there a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
Is there support? It's been moved and supported. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed. Next item.
Item F, Detroit Tigers Game Day.
So this item is usually we go to the county suite as an activity for the youth. And that is provided through the executive's office. I usually pay for the food and whatever else we have there, and then I'm reimbursed for the cost, or either a staff member. I believe that's how we do that, because we don't have a account with the stadium. That's why we do that.
You know what, I moved to pass this for the day. I think there's still some questions on this that legal wants to look into. So I moved to pass it for the day and we can look at it.
Okay,
little
what
later.
questions? I
I'm
mean, what,
not completely sure if it's
because we've gone for the
venue
last,
to the
yeah,
CEOs.
we've
Yeah,
been there every year, so I'm not sure what the issue is.
yeah, I'm not either. So I moved to pass it for the day.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Yes, I'm opposed. Motion passed. Next item.
Item G, Port Authority Completion Ceremony.
Again, this is something we've done for the last, how many ever years? And it's just a ceremony to end the year. I think you've been there before, so that's that.
I'll make
Any
a motion
question?
to approve.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, no.
Okay.
I support.
Okay, it's been moved and supported. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed. Next item.
Wait,
Oh,
I have a question.
sure.
How much does the person who the legislative aide that is on helping with this committee, how much is her salary?
Contract amount.
I don't see that's not on the,
We didn't have it on the agenda to discuss,
right.
but I
so-
can get that to you later. I don't have that off the top of my head.
Okay, yeah,
Yep,
I would
okay.
really like to know,
Okay.
just to
I
know.
think she gets paid hourly,
Okay.
and she only works maybe 15 hours a week or something.
Okay, that'd be
minimal.
great. If you
Yeah,
just
but I don't.
gave us that
I don't-
information. Right,
Okay.
thank you.
All right. Next item.
Moving to item 2, upcoming meetings.
All right, we have a meeting scheduled at the DIA. I hope you all will come out. This is something we've done annually to no expense of the county. Basically, they do a tour, and then we have guest speakers that come, and there may be some other activity that they do at the DIA. Any questions? All right. And
So I do have a question.
Sure.
Because it says they're going to receive their t-shirts. I hope you can get that in time going through the procurement
Right.
process.
Yeah, well, that,
And it just, yeah.
yep, you're right. I don't know. We'll see. All right, next item is just the meetings that we have and guests, that upcoming guests. And if you have any anyone you would like to be or suggest to be a guest, I would love to have your input on that. Any questions about the upcoming meetings? All right. Next item.
Item F, such are the matters as may be properly submitted before the committee.
All right, I don't have any. Then next item.
Item G, public comments.
Well, we've had several public comments. I kind of made that executive decision to let them speak while they were on their lunch break. So, but are there any?
There are no hands on Zoom and no emails were received.
All right, anyone in the audience? No one in the audience. All right, next item, please.
Item H, adjournment.
All right, it's been moved and supported. All those in favor?